Fair warning, after this video, codependent will be yours forever, so don't use it for malicious purposes. If you're either dating a codependent or in a relationship with one and either not sure how to make their life easier or whether you want to carry on at all, then keep on watching. The first question I'd ask you is, are you really up for it? Are you in for the long run? Codependents are controlling and manipulating, usually not maliciously, but because the pain gets too intense. Caretaking to the extent that you would be like, wow, it's my life. Get your hands off my life. Can say yes and blame you for that because they meant no. As they have a very low self-esteem, they might play a victim card way too often. They are overly sensitive. And maybe the hardest one, they put a lot of pressure on you to make them happy. They'll put you in the center of their universe, which means that they will look to you to provide all their good feelings. Are you scared? It's only natural if you are, but at the end of the day, we all have issues. You have yours too, aren't you? The perfect partner just doesn't exist. You just gotta find the right type of issues that you want to deal with. The first question, do you want to deal with these issues? Do you have mental bandwidth for that? And then perhaps even more important question, who are you yourself? Are you codependent too? What's your attachment style? In my opinion, and please know that it's only my opinion and might not work for you, but if you're also codependent, you two will be just dancing around each other, unable to live your own lives. If you have an anxious attachment style and your partner too, then it might get too overwhelming for you both. If you have an avoidant attachment style, then you might not be able to meet your partner's needs in intimacy. That's why it's important to know yourself, so you know who you are compatible with. Last thing, it's really important that your partner is aware of their codependency and is working through it. It's not your job to be their therapist, but if your partner is aware of it and is working through it, then it should be fine. Another story if they are just abusive, manipulating and have addiction issues. All in all, these things should be taken into account. 1. Do you want to deal with these issues? Do you have emotional space for it? 2. Know yourself and know who you're compatible with. And 3. Is your partner self-aware? Okay, we got this out of the way. Let's say you're all in, you know what you're signing up for. Then first I'll talk about 3 big things. I call them big because they require quite of an effort, in my opinion. And then I'll talk about 4 quick fixes. Of course, they also require an effort, but less of an effort in my opinion. Number 1, your partner should see that you're totally capable of managing your own life. You cannot fake this. If you're not capable of this, stay away of codependence. You are both better off this way. But if you are actually capable of managing your own life, then it's time to show it to us, to codependents. For us, it's important to see that you know how to make decisions and you know what to do. And even if you don't know sometimes, you know how to figure this out. If we step in your territory and get too much involved in your decision making regarding topics that are yours and we should not have a say in there, this is your moment to show that you perfectly know how to live your own life. For example, if you told your codependent that you got hurt by what your friend did, we codependents will run to rescue you. We will give you all the advice possible and will force you to the direction that we think is best for you. And it's imperative that you cut this off by saying,
let me figure this out on my own, honey, okay? I love you and you should not be solving my issues. Why don't we instead go for a walk and talk about your job? You told me that there was something bugging you there.
Let your codependent know that you have your life under control and gently return them back to their own life. Number 2. Continue proving that you will be there for them, if it's your intention, of course. For example, if you said that you will call them in an hour and something came up, let them know, don't leave them hanging. Because these seemingly small things that you did not follow up on what you said can raise questions about your reliability and can shake their trust. I know, for healthy people it's like, what? He called you just 20 minutes later, what's the problem? But for us, codependents, it's a big deal. We find it really hard to trust people, and if you don't follow up on what you said, we can get very sensitive and emotional about it. And the thought process behind it, if you really want to understand it, is that we find it very hard to trust people, as I said, and it almost feels like at some point people will let us down. We cannot rely on them fully and completely. And of course, if we program our mind like this, then whenever a person slips up or makes a small mistake, we go like, see, I knew I should not have trusted you. For example, I have a very good friend He's type of a friend who I can turn to whenever I'm a complete mess and just can cry on his shoulder, and the next day he's not gonna think any less of me. But once I needed him because I was in trouble and I could not physically take care of myself, and he could not be there for me. As you can imagine, this is where my codependency came in. I immediately devalued our friendship. I told him,
"Are you even serious about me? Are you even serious about our friendship? How can I trust you? How can I rely on you?"
I got quite emotional there. You know the spiel. Thank God this guy has a secure attachment style and is very forgiving. He kind of can just turn a blind eye on me being emotional and overly sensitive, which is such a good quality. And I think if you have this quality, your relationship with your codependent is 50% set. This friend of mine kindly and calmly explained to me that I just generalize our friendship based on one event, which is not really healthy. He profusely apologized and said that he will be there for me next time, and this time he just slipped up because he did not understand the scale of the situation. I think it's a great example of how to deal with us codependents when our issues get the best of us. I reflected a lot on the situation and I see that it's not healthy to judge the whole relationship based on one event. It's like judging your life based on one day. Just ridiculous. That's why I'm saying that your codependent partner should be self-aware, because yes, my friend handled the situation wonderfully, but I also could reflect on my behavior and apologize for it. Number 3, overcommunicate. We are overly sensitive. We don't like to read between the lines, and any type of ambiguity throws us off balance. So what this means is that it's better to over-communicate than under-communicate with us. If you need the time to think after an argument, let us know. If you sent a vague message to us, take the moment to elaborate on it and break it down for us. If something happened that might raise questions, let's talk it over, even if it's as small as this. We were at the beginning stage of dating and I gave a call to someone I like, but he declined my call. And you know how it goes when you just start dating, it's all a little bit vague and a little bit sensitive and kind of ambiguous. What can you do? What should you do? Is it okay already to do this or that? It's a little bit all unclear and vulnerable. For codependence for sure. But because we took the time to discuss it to a T, we found out what has really happened. It all got crystal clear and took all my worries and questions and whatever concerns I had away. Yes, it took us quite some time, but I personally think that small things like this do pile up and can result in a big argument before you even notice. And if we haven't had discussed it in such detail, I would have been discouraged from calling him. So this is a very good example of how to handle us codependents and how to over-communicate with us. This guy handled it extremely well. Alright, how does it feel so far? I know it takes someone who is really mentally stable to handle this, and it takes a lot of inner resources. But what I also know, if you are able to turn a blind eye on your partner being a little bit, or not a little bit, overly sensitive and emotional, and can be a little bit more like,
"Hey, my little codependent.
or not so little,
Come here. I love you. I'm going to be here for you."
then self-aware codependents can actually make great partners. What I see among codependents is that we are usually not malicious. You know those people who have those tricky strategic plans on how to hurt others? It's not us. We're not gonna stab you in the back, but we will actually have your back. We're not a cold fish, but we actually can listen to you and relate to you. We will sense you and we will make you feel understood. And if it has still any weight in our society, we're just kind, good people who care about others. Sometimes too much. Okay, let's talk about 4 easy fixes, shall we? Whenever you are in a bad mood, let your codependent know that it's not because of them, it's not their fault, and they cannot fix it. Tell them directly what you need from them. For example,
"Hey, I just need some space right now. I'll be back in 2 hours.
And be back in 2 hours, okay? Or,
Hey, let's just watch a movie together, but I don't want to talk about it."
number 2, whenever they get caught up in helping others and caring about others too much, ask them, "Okay, but how are you feeling? How are you doing? What about you?" Remind them that they don't have to spend their whole life helping other people, and they don't have to do it. they can just stop immediately. Just right now, they can stop. And if you want, you can help them. You can say,
hey, let me book a spa for you.
or
let me handle the dishes and you go and take a long bath, or a face mask,
or whatever your codependent likes. Number 3, give. Codependents are most comfortable giving. Receiving is really hard for us. I don't mean gifts necessarily, but for example, my usual role is a caregiver. I'm usually the one asking, are you cold? Do you like this place? Are you tired? How are you doing today? So being taken care of feels unusual, but feels so good. So maybe ask your codependent now, yes, right now, how they are doing, and perhaps be a little bit more in tune with what you can do for them, because for sure they will do stuff for you. And number 4, know when you need to push back and when to reassure them. This is a very fine line, and I don't know where it lies in your relationship, but this is my opinion. If your codependent says,
remember you said that, and I know you did not mean to hurt me, but it somehow did hurt me.
Please know that it took them a lot of courage, a lot of therapy sessions, and self-awareness to be able to say it out loud. Usually codependents don't know what they feel, so it's already huge progress for them. I get it, you can be caught off guard because indeed it was not your intention and you were like, what? I just did that, I did not have a second thought, I did not want to hurt you. And it might be true, but this is how it works in their mind. I understand that it might be a little bit counterintuitive and you might get defensive and offended, like, I just did not call them, how come they just thought I don't love them anymore? Or how come they arrived at this conclusion? I get this, but please know that while you were crafting your SWOT analysis for a competitor, your codependent was already replaying a lot of different scenarios in their mind. It got quite intense for them, I'm pretty sure. So the best thing you can do in this situation when they're quite emotional is to reassure them in a loving and gentle way. Please know that it has nothing to do with you. It's not because you're a bad partner, it's just literally how their mind works. So if you want to mitigate the situation, the best, in my opinion, you can do here is to reassure them. You can say something like this.
Thanks for sharing, I really appreciate it. Indeed, it was not my intention to hurt you. Indeed, I haven't called you not because I don't love you, I just caught up in work. But I want you to feel safe around me. So next time when something like this happens, can you please send me a reminder? Can you please just shoot me a text so I will call you immediately?
So it will save you both tears if you decide to reassure them and prove them that they're wrong in their assumptions. And now when I think you should push back. If your codependent tells you every day something like this.
You never listen to me. I think you should not hang out with your friend Jack. He's just using you.
Because first, there is black and white thinking involved where they're using words like always and never, so it already means they're quite deep in their codependency and it's not your job to rescue them. And secondly, they put their nose in your business, which should not involve them, which should never involve them, who you hang out with. You're free to hang out with whoever you please, and in my opinion, your partner should not have a say in there. If they don't like your friends, they're free to skip a next party, but they cannot dictate you who you should see and when. I shared my take in this video. Perhaps I'm projecting here, so I think it's best if you watch this video with your codependent partner and ask them what applies to them and how you can best support them and be the best partner they can possibly get. Alright, if you're still here, then thank you so much for watching. I really appreciate you and I'm really happy to see you here again. If you like this video, then please give it a thumbs up because it really supports my channel. Subscribe to my channel because I upload videos every single week, and leave a comment down below. I'd really love to know what you think. See you in the next video. Bye!